A new lawsuit is trying to put a stop to Donald Trump's UFC Freedom 250 event scheduled for this weekend at the White House. The complaint calls the event on Trump's birthday, quote, deeply corrupt.
The Trump family officially starts to cash in on the UFC cage match planned at the White House. That cashing in is in the form of these Trump coins, which went on sale today, described as, quote, the official gold and silver of UFC 250. The priciest of these coins will run you $11,999.99.
Trump's White House UFC spectacle is somehow getting even less hype, with both a lawsuit gaining traction and the guest list revealed, which, it will make the Turning Point USA Super Bowl party look like the Met Gala. First, more details on the lawsuit filed by the Public Integrity Project seeking to stop the UFC Freedom 250. The suit refers to the event as, quote, illegal and corrupt, which kind of sounds like how some UFC fighters paid to fight in the UFC are also describing it.
But what I think personally is that our government is desecrating its role in society by entertaining sports. Our government is to protect and serve the people, and really should be as minimal as possible. And when you're doing all of this stuff, hosting sporting events, it's really outside of what the goal of the government was intended to be, because our tax dollars and resources are funding this operation. And like I said, I'm not criticizing the UFC. I love Dana. I love Hunter. I love Sean, Mick. I love all of them. And it's an amazing thing. It's a once in a lifetime thing. But the government should never be hosting sporting events, because there's more room for corruption, and we already have a corrupted government. And so that's my thoughts on it, is that the government is supposed to protect us, not entertain us.
The lawsuit alleges that proper authorization was not obtained to hold the event or build structures on federal parkland. It also argues that the plan bypassed Congress and avoided required environmental review. But this is the Trump administration. They bypass Congress when they want to wage wars, so why would they go to them with this matter? And it says that the event allows the president and his allies to benefit from what the filing describes as a private, for-profit sports event staged on public land.
The White House has faced some criticism for hosting this UFC fight on the South Lawn, including from Governor Gavin Newsom's press office, as well as UFC commentator and podcaster Joe Rogan, who said on his podcast that the fight was kind of a gimmick and raised security concerns.
And it's just going to be a security nightmare.
That's true.
You're on the White House lawn.
So maybe are you meaning that there could be some corruption involved here? I mean, it's not like in the lead up to the event, which will be a pay-per-view on Paramount, the company owned by Trump's mate, who's trying to secure a multi-billion-dollar merger. The top super PAC, backed by President Trump, will hold a $1 million per person fundraiser Saturday, the day before the event itself takes place on the White House ground. I mean, they're just not even trying to hide the grift, right? The 7-figure fundraising event will take place where? At Trump's golf club in the Washington suburbs in Northern Virginia. This, according to an NBC report. Money raised at the fundraiser will benefit MAGA Incorporated, which has collected over $340 million this election cycle and is expected to play a major role for the GOP in the upcoming midterm elections. And people familiar with the UFC matches and the fundraiser say, yeah, they're independent of each other, but a person who spoke to NBC who has a ticket to the UFC event and plans to attend the fundraiser said that while the two events are separate, quote, I certainly do not think the timing is a coincidence.
I'm shocked. Well, not that shocked.
And by the way, in response to the lawsuit, the Trump administration is now urging a judge to just reject the effort to block the event. Reuters reported that the administration argues the challenge came too late. Plaintiffs have not shown sufficient personal harm. And in one of the most revealing lines, the government filing reportedly says it would be easy enough for the plaintiffs to simply, quote, avert their gaze. What a line that is, right? Hey, so I know most of the country are struggling to fill up at the tank, all while we're still entangled in a foreign war, but we're going to splash out on a lavish event while also hosting $1 million a head fundraisers just a day before. But if you don't like it, just avert your gaze.
Is the cost of the fine gold We the People medallion, it's called. The Trump coin site touts that, quote, this extraordinary collectible unites American history, presidential legacy, and combat sports history in one landmark release. Note that it comes in a case featuring photos of President Trump and UFC President Dana White on either side of Donald Trump's signature. Now, there are 4 medallions in all, 2 gold, 2 silver, ranging in size and price, with the lowest costing around $250. The site says they are all designed by President Trump himself, which is amazing. Where does he find the time? This is, of course, not the first product the president or his family members are pushing. There's Trump sneakers. Candidate Trump unveiled these Never Surrender high tops, which at the time retail for $399. And yes, they were released before he was reelected. But lest you think he's forgotten, 3 weeks into the war with Iran, President Trump posted this to social media, claiming that these same high tops were now selling at a sneaker convention in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for $180,000. That presidential post about sneaker prices during the war. Where does he find the time? I'd be remiss not to mention the Trump phone. The $499 gold-plated phones finally started shipping a few weeks ago, nearly a year after initially taking customers' money. While originally touted as being made in the USA, they are now marketed as designed with American values in mind. Which we should just pause and reflect on that claim for a moment. It's designed with American values in mind. I don't know what that means. Someone was thinking about America when they signed the contract to hawk these? Experts said they closely resemble a phone made in China, but somehow American values were thought about when they were designed. Rest easy. Then, of course, there's the Trump meme coin, which he launched in a social media post 3 days before inauguration. It's one of 4 Trump family crypto projects. A recent Reuters analysis found the Trump family have used these projects to generate at least $2.3 billion, which is great for them, not so great for more than 1 million investors who have net losses totaling $2.3 billion.
And the timing of all this, the event, the fundraiser, the lawsuit, it couldn't be worse for Trump, right? After today's inflation report only further highlighted how dire the state of the economy is under this president.
Every month, we got a jump of 0.5%. That was the expectation from ACPI. That's the headline number, 4.2% year over year. The headline number, that was in line. That is a jump from last month's 3.8%. So it rose month to month, to be clear. This year-over-year headline number is the highest number we've seen since April of 2023. Core month over month, I will say, not quite in line, 0.2%. The expectation, 0.3%, pretty close, core month to month. And then 2.9% year over year for core May CPI. That was the expectation, 2.9%. Let me tell you what the government is saying, because again, it was the energy story that we saw last month. I will tell you the energy index did jump again month to month, 3.8%. But what the government is saying is that the 3.9%, jump for energy for the month of May is a core piece, and that is 60% of what we have seen in the increase that we're looking at. And the markets, of course, are reacting. Shelter also increased in May, 0.3%, and food increased as well in May, 0.2%. And the food at home index rose. Food away from index home rose. A lot of this, Maria, as I sent it back to you, can be tied to the fertilizer issues that we see coming out of the Middle East, those shipments, those prices. 10% of aluminum comes out of the Middle East. So that food price story does kind of also go in line with the issues that we're seeing with the Strait of Hormuz and the supply chain. Basically, look, this is the fastest annual pace we've seen in a couple of years here.
Rest assured, he's on the case. And that case is making midterm ads for Democrats.
Sure, the right people come into our country.
Are you going to go to same case?
I will.
I
will.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. We've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be, we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers.
And lastly, this isn't as substantive as blatant corruption at hand that we've discussed, but it's still worth noting as the whole point of this event is, one, it's a distraction, but two, the spectacle. Trump loves to bask in it, hence his brass neck attempts to steal the next thunder. By the way, 1,000% blaming him for that. But the Daily Beast reported that after weeks of hype about star-studded attendees, the names released for those expected to be in attendance were basically Trump sycophants and family members. This event was supposed to say that Trump owns celebrity culture. He's still hip and got it. And maybe Fox News won't have to dub USA, USA chants over him getting booed. But all in all, it looks like it's backfiring.
Of warmth, of a job, an economy, a community, a family. And for too long, you saw Democrats who were telling these coal miners that they should just learn the code. And what we saw during the Biden administration at the EPA, for example, was regulation after regulation after regulation, trying to strangulate out of existence